have to stop us from laughing. Um, hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Turnout. I am your host, Aloy, and I have an amazing guest, Maria Park from Approach the Nerd. She is amazing, and I have kind of gotten a little bit addicted to her channel. I talk a lot about Charmed on this channel. So does she. She talks about a lot of other things. So do I usually, by the way. But leading up into the new season of Charmed, we just had a discussion over on her channel talking about what's going on. Hopefully, predictions for the third season, and so go check that out. That'll be really nice. But tonight, Maria is also a very big fan of the MCU, as I am, as everybody who subscribes to this channel knows. We talk about the MCU quite a bit here, usually with like news and just kind of responding to things, because lots of stuff keeps getting leaked and talked about. And really, I just wanted to bring on Maria and kind of get her vibe on like, the news and like which shows are you excited about and stuff like that. So I guess let's start there. There's tons of stuff coming from Disney, because not only the main stuff that is going to come, but then stuff that got pushed back, like it's kind of all going to end up piling on top of it. But is there any particular project that you're like most excited about seeing?
A lot of them, actually. So if we're going for Disney Plus, WandaVision is going to be interesting. Very, very interesting, especially if they allow her to whisper the "No More Mutants" line. If they do that,
yeah,
I am there, because that's going to open up House of M and everything that goes along with that, and it's just going to be amazing. I don't know how far we're going to get in Phase 4 with this, but I really want this to be like the precursor for all the crap that's about to go down, and that maybe we'll make it to Krakoa at one point. that's my dream.
Maybe. I'm thinking that WandaVision is going to be her saying the opposite of "No More Mutants." I think she's going to say like, "I think mutants are a thing," and then they are at that point.
Well, I mean, it should be, because now we have X-Men in the MCU.
Yeah.
We never could call them mutants, because I had to educate someone about Wanda recently, because they thought she was a test tube baby for Hydra, and I'm like, no. She actually, comically is, historically a mutant. She is the twin sister of Quicksilver. Sometimes their relationship's a little on the weird side, but that's neither here nor there.
You say weird and I say ew.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to say it, but I actually have an issue where Wolverine will caught them being very non-sibling like, so we're gonna leave it there. But yeah, like I love that we're able to now have the X-Men potentially into this universe, so I'm very excited about that, because I mean, I really want them to reinvent Rogue. I really want them to reinvent Storm. I need these characters, because Bryan Singer, come at me, guys, I don't like him, and I don't like what he did to the X-Men universe. I just don't. So I'm excited about anything that ties us into X-Men and potentially a very good rendition of Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Now, I was not a hater of the original Jessica Alba, but I liked the first movie, even Chris Evans' Human Torch. I didn't mind it. Is it perfect? No, it's just campy, and I didn't have a problem with that. Now, the reinvention of the Fantastic Four, no. I like Michael B. Jordan, but I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened in that.
Michael B. Jordan was not the issue with that movie. Like that movie had so many issues.
Because he's doing a Static Shock movie in the DC, and so I like him. I just do not like what they do with the Fantastic Four. No. So I am very excited for WandaVision. I'm very excited for Falcon and Winter Soldier, especially since we know that Sam did not take on the Captain America mantle. And we're gonna, so I'm very excited where they're going to go. And then I read a news article saying that they're going to be bringing back some characters from some of the old, Avenger, or from our pre-phases, basically. Some characters that may not even be alive anymore. So I'm trying to, we saw Black Widow in a leaked photo on the set. I don't know at what point we see her. Is it a flashback? Because I mean, I know this takes place after Endgame, so
that's the whole thing, right? With the new, with Phase 4. Phase 4, they already kind of jumped the shark with time travel. And in
that's what we're calling it, right? Time travel.
Time travel. And what they're doing now with essentially what they're trying to do is, now that Iron Man is no longer the linchpin, they're making Doctor Strange the linchpin now. And he's the one that's going to be bouncing from show to movie and all that stuff. And his travels through the multiverse is where we're going to get a lot of introduction to all of these different new characters and stuff, because they're going to be coming from other universes. Like me personally, I don't think that Doctor Strange is the same. I don't think he's the same caliber of character as like Iron Man was, because Iron Man was there from the very beginning. He already had his foot like deeply in the I am the thing, I am the one to unite it all, even though he was pompous and all that stuff. But that's, neither here nor there. But he was always there as something like that. Us as viewers could be like, oh, well, Tony's there, so it feels like it's MCU.
Yeah.
I don't think Doctor Strange has that. What do you think about Doctor Strange now being the linchpin in the whole kind of phase 4 of the MCU?
I think for the past phases, it would have been weird, but because now it's more of a Peter Parker show, because that's basically what I'm seeing right now. Doctor Strange had especially in the comics, they had a very close relationship, just like how Daredevil had with Peter Parker as well. So I can see Doctor Strange being more of that mentorish, person to Peter Parker, especially where Peter Parker is now, how we saw with Far From Home, how he's basically being framed for Mysterio's murder and, basically on the run. What better person to go to than somebody who can travel through different, multiverses than Doctor Strange? I can kind of see that connection. And it's almost like they set Peter up, and you saw it in the last movie, to be the new Tony Stark, to be the header. If Peter is separated from his aunt, because obviously it's too dangerous for her to know where he is, the only family or familial connection he'll have will be the new Avengers team. And that puts him in a very good position to make all kinds of relationships. And Doctor Strange have that big role in his comics would be one of the people I could see for Peter. Now, that's why I'm disclaiming for Peter. Now, I agree. Tony Stark was like, he was my guy. Everyone's like, oh, he was such a dick. I'm like, yes, we know Tony is, but I also am very not happy with Captain America MCU. I have made no bones about saying that I have not. It has been a disclaimer of my life. I've made a video on it. It's on my channel. I call him the Mary Sue of the MCU because he talked a lot of smack and did the opposite. So yeah, you want to know how I feel, go check that video out. But
well, I actually feel, definitely go watch that video, everybody. I haven't watched it yet, so I'm probably gonna have to watch it after this.
You watch it.
I like Captain America personally, because I feel like Captain America's entire storyline in the entire MCU was just, I'm a man out of his own time, obviously, and all of these preconceived notions and things that he believed, every single one of them kept getting shattered until he was no longer the same Captain America as he was in the beginning. And I felt that. And then at the end, he's just like, nah, I don't even want to be that guy anymore. I'm just going to go back and I'm just going to be a regular person, and I'm going to time travel, all that stuff. So I dug Captain America. I also like Chris Evans quite a bit. It's, just generally,
I like Chris Evans.
Yeah,
I
think he's a cool dude.
I just didn't like Steve Rogers. I did not like Captain. Well, the problem that I have, I hate characters that come off as the pure, I never lie, I always make the right choices type of person, like they did in his solo movie, how even the conversation he had with Tony, you're not the guy who would jump on the bomb for everyone, yada, yada, yada. But Tony was the one that would jump on the bomb. Yeah. And Steve, he was all gung-ho to help everyone, especially they didn't want to talk about, the Accords. They didn't want to talk about, everything that happened in Civil War. He was always like, well, I don't think you should force us to sign this. And, I'm going to protect my team and blah, blah, blah. And then Bucky shows up. And then it's like, all right, guys, gotta go. Oh, and if you guys aren't on board with me, you're also my enemy. Peace out. Yeah. So then they handle the whole thing with Bucky. He doesn't tell Tony about the fact that he figured out that, Bucky was the one that killed his parents. Yeah. Now, that could be a moral thing. I understand you don't want to cause somebody else, grief, yada, yada, yada. But I had two questions. When he ripped out the chest jewel thing from Tony, did he know that it was no longer attached to his heart, because he was not in the last Iron Man movie when he had that operation? Right. And number two, so when everything was resolved with Bucky, and then they all, even in the end game, and then he went back in time, the stuff going on with the people, with his team, the disagreement over whether or not to sign this registration act, that didn't go away. But Peggy, I'm like, I gotta go live my best life. So you guys got this, right? Peace out. That's my problem with MCU Captain America. He's not the Captain America I knew in the comics. He's it just didn't make sense to me. So that's why I have a problem with him. But you'll see.
I feel you there.
Yeah,
I feel you there. I feel to answer the questions, I think he knew about the chest, the heart thing, because I mean he removed that in like the second Iron Man movie.
It was in the second near the end, or no.
No. Second one was when he replaced it with his own element.
Yeah, he was having anxiety attacks, wasn't he? In the second one,
it was in It was in Endgame. It was that one where that was where he got it. Actually,
it was before Endgame. It was because remember it's when Pepper found out he had built all those suits and he destroyed. That was when my heart was broken. And I was like, no, do not destroy these suits. But no, I don't think they had that conversation, and that's the thing. And I'm just putting it out there. He could have. But we never saw it. So, like when he was fighting to protect Bucky, he ripped this out. He didn't know he was going to kill him.
Definitely off screen. I will agree with you there.
Yeah, that's a problem for me. So that's not
on the Accords thing. It actually fell in line with the Civil War comic book. Where
that was fine. How he was, he was pro not signing it, and of course signing. And it goes back to Wanda. They were treating Tony like he kept Wanda in this prison. He had her in a penthouse with $1 million penthouse, round the clock food, entertainment, and he was keeping her off the streets from the mobs of people that wanted to hurt her for her accidentally killing the people in that building. Yeah, because that's what she did.
But I will say, even if your prison is a penthouse, it is still a prison if you do not have the freedom to leave. And they literally even had Vision there to keep her from leaving by force if necessary. So
I agree with that, but
still technically a prison.
It is. But I guess the alternative, he agreed to have her under house arrest because the government was coming to get her.
So
he was like, and what made me mad is that nobody else was in those conversations. They gave that to Tony. Yeah. Why wasn't Steve involved in that? Saying, hey, Captain America, this girl killed these people, accident or not. She's not a cop. You have no real, rights here to be fighting in the streets or protecting anything. And in a way, you're kind of a vigilante right now. Yep. And we can come get her and put her in the same situation that you originally found her in with Hydra. Or she could stay in this $1 million fancy penthouse, have all $1,000 of food delivered to her with Vision as her biatch.
But that's honestly the thing, though, is Tony was very much, his micromanager. He was constantly trying to have control over those sorts of things, and he never was, he was never forthcoming with any information to anybody. So I mean, that's really all of that is just
there were
I would just blame all of that on Tony.
Well, some of it is Tony, but I just have to say that I can't blame it all on him, and that's the problem. And like, people don't see that the choices that were made by Captain America are actually kind of effed up. I actually have a list. Like I said, I have a video on it.
I'm gonna go watch the video.
Watch that video. But
I was always Team Tony myself, because I'm like, they probably should sign that. Just saying. I'm just saying they probably should sign the thing.
I mean, just to register. I mean, and there's good and bad. We've learned this throughout, especially with comics, and comics imitate what's happening in the world. So I mean, we wouldn't want people saying we're going to put all the minorities down in a book. I mean, I get it, but it's just hard. It was that whole storyline was just hard for me. But back to Doctor Strange. So
back to Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, I did read, and I've read this series. Doctor Strange and the Sorcerer Supreme. There, I want to say 11 or 12 issues. Basically, it's so what ended up happening was Doctor Strange lost his powers. Mm-hmm. And so Tony Stark gave him a ship, and he went out into space and he visited all these different planets across the universe to basically get his powers. And so the director of Doctor Strange 2 says it will be very beneficial for people to read that comic book series before they see Doctor Strange 2. So that already told me, all right, I see what's happening right now. So
I think for me, the way that I feel about Doctor Strange being the linchpin now is like somebody had to do it, I guess. But really, whatever is going to get me America Chavez in a movie, I am good. I am happy.
America Chop. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you brought that up. I talked about this last week. Number one, I have no problem with who they cast in this role. I'm not going to do this whole her skin's not dark enough. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. Generally speaking, I don't mind her being 14. The only problem that I have is that I love the banter between her and her best friend Kate. And since they cast Haley Steinfeld and she's in her 20s, but they cast a 14-year-old America, that friendship now is going to be very hard. And that is the one thing I wish they had changed, unless this is kind of like a multiverse or a time trip. So like this is America when she's young, and then we have another version of her later on. Then I'm down with that.
Yeah, that could be cool.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the one. I love Kate Bishop and America Chavez's banter. I live for it. It is so amusing to me. And so that was the one thing I was like, darn, they're going to take that out. they think it's important. And I think that's one of the things that worked for her because, America's she's from Utopian world. She's not from, their Earth. So that's kind of like the person that she gravitated towards and was making her more earthly or human is a good way of saying that. So,
I like her I like America Chavez, and I heard that Kamala Khan might be getting her own show.
Yeah, I think they are in the works of doing that. And
so like those are two of my favorite kind of newer characters that have come out just like in the last decade. I love. Well, they've had a lot of very good like characters that have come out that I thought should be spotlighted. That's the thing about comics; they don't take the obscure characters or backgrounds. They like to do the legacy ones. So Miss America being incorporated in Doctor Strange 2 was very good. That is a very good sign that they're breaking away from that. So I am just a quick thing from Yedo. I'm not exactly sure how to say your name. Says, I hope that on some level, Multiverse of Madness will be a good way to introduce Enchantress. And just to point this out, so I can be pedantic about it, they actually introduced Enchantress on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And actually, I believe it was season either 1 or 2. They had her in there and Sif was there and all of that stuff to come and track Enchantress down and all that stuff. So... except that the movies ignore Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So if they wanted to introduce a new Enchantress, they could totally do it. I just wanted to point out that they have actually technically done it. So
and the problem, even though technically Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is in the MCU universe, it's like the Lady Sif thing. We don't know what happened to her. She was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but she never came back to any.
Never came back.
Nothing. And she is a very big character in Thor's universe. So I get it that Enchantress should have been introduced.
I think that Sif went and she found her own Peggy and decided I ain't going back to Asgard. That's a jerk move, Sif. Jeez. You know Ragnarok's coming.
Wait. Nicholas said that was not Enchantress. That was her older sister, Lorelei.
Oh, they called her Enchantress.
Probably, maybe that's what they thought. Maybe that was like a code name, or maybe that was a connection to it. But yeah, it was Lorelei.
Okay, I stand corrected. Then
it's okay. I'm telling you, Nicholas is on it.
No, I like your watchers. Your watchers are great.
They're on. Look, I take an ACT test every time.
So I think the biggest thing that I'm excited for, I guess, let's discuss the Disney Plus. The Falcon and Winter Soldier, definitely, because I love Falcon just in general. I love what they did with the Falcon and the reinterpretation of the character in the MCU made him not cheesy at all. Like in the comics, he had like an actual Falcon and it was dumb because he did not have the power to talk to birds. He literally just had a trained Falcon for no reason because his name was Falcon. Anyway, if he had the power to talk to birds, it would be completely different. He'd be like, oh, he's my friend. And oh, really? Oh, you found this when you scouted ahead. Like that makes sense. No, I'm glad that they changed it in the MCU. Loki, the Loki show, I'm looking forward to that. The What If show, I've seen some of the previews and stuff for the What If. It looks like they're doing some pretty interesting things there. But the thing I'm mostly excited about is She-Hulk. Especially after I heard who they cast as She-Hulk. They cast Tatiana Mansley. I hope that I'm saying the last name right.
I butcher your last name, so don't look at me.
But I was such a fan of Orphan Black and just knowing, like, I trust this actress, because the first thing I thought is, oh, she's really short. Like, I was just thinking, like, how are you going to cast her as She-Hulk? Because She-Hulk is a Hulk. Like, she's super tall, like big, muscular, and and she stays in that form primarily. She's not like the Hulk where he switches back and forth. Like, she's just always that. But I'm like, but you know what? If anybody could do it, I think Tatiana could probably pull that off, because she's just such a good actress.
Yeah, and then look what they did with Mark Ruffalo. They kind of made him, like, when he was scientist Hulk, that's what we're going to call him, when he was Happy Hulk in Endgame. They had him, you know, his face imposed into the actual CG of his body. So they'll probably do that with her too.
Yeah.
You know,
which could be
her
cool. Oh yeah,
could be
like
cool.
yeah. Computers solve all issues, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I mean, we have the technology, we can do it.
But that was the main thing. I was just like, oh my gosh, she's so short. That was the main thing that went through my brain. And not to, like, I'm not like height prejudice or anything like that, but just She-Hulk is like a beast, and it's just like, it just seems weird to cast such a short person for that.
Yeah, but height different. Like I said, that with America being 14 and with
right. I mean, there's always going to be slight differences, I think, going into the movie format.
Yeah.
But in terms of Disney Plus, I think She-Hulk is the one that I am 100% on board with, and the other ones I'm like, we'll see how they are. I'm gonna watch them all anyway, but I might not like stand for those. But I already know I'm gonna stand for She-Hulk though.
You're gonna I think that one's one that they're actually still filming, because I was looking at the production schedule and I was trying to see if we actually had a date on when that one was coming out, because a lot of them are coming out back to back, which is what I'm seeing.
Yeah, like a lot of them, because they're like I said, they're trying to make up for lost time now at this point.
Yeah, they are.
Because that's the thing with the MCU, is that because everything is so interconnected, you can't be like, oh well, this one's done, so let's just throw that out. No, we have to get this other thing out first, and this has to come out, and you know, you have to space it out a certain way so that it doesn't mess up the flow and all that stuff. But then also, it's like some of the things are like, no, we needed a month or two to go by for this to make sense within the time, and it's just like, nope, it's going to come out the next month. It's going to be weird. That's kind of like in Buffy, as everybody here on the channel knows that I like Buffy. I liked it because the end of the year meant they were going on summer break, and then they would come back to the show and school would be starting back, and then they talk about what they did over summer break. And it made sense for the show because the show was happening in the same time as you were watching it. And I loved that about that show. Like, they took the real world timing into account when they were releasing their stuff and when they were writing it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's what I was looking. I know they have Miss Marvel coming out, so Miss Marvel's another show that we're going to see. I'm also excited for Nick Fury's story, and I'm really hoping that we get an origin story this time. We actually see his time when he was with the Howling Commandos. We see his wife, because he was married to Monica, or Monica technically Cage now. She was the first ever Chinese American Black Widow in comics. So I would love to see how they met. I know how they broke up because he slept with her mother, her sister, and all of her friends. But I would love to see that. I'd love to see his kids because he has 2 sons. I would love to see Nick Fury as something other than the recruiter for the Avengers. So this is a very big opportunity. Maybe we can see more of his development of S.H.I.E.L.D. So there's so much they can do with this, and I'm glad they greenlighted that. So
I'm not 100% like super excited to watch a Nick Fury show. I've always found Nick Fury, like, I love Samuel L. Jackson and I like what he's done with the role, but I've always seen like it's very like a James Bondish kind of thing, and that sort of super spy type of thing just was never necessarily my jam. So it is what it is. Yeah,
I get that. Well, I love James Bond, so I'm gonna be like 100%.
So like, I'm cool. Like, I'll watch it because, again, I'm gonna watch it all because I need to know the ongoing storyline that interweaves between everything. But I would say that's not the one that I'm very excited about. I like him he's a really great supporting character. Even in the Spider-Man cartoon, Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, where Spider-Man's trying to get Nick Fury to let him join Shield. And like I loved that because he was a great kind of like foil to Spider-Man. He'd be like, yeah, I mean, technically you stopped that thing. It wasn't good enough though. You're not an Avenger. So like he was good as a foil, but not necessarily as a star, in my opinion. But I love Nick Fury. I like Samuel Jackson. I'm sure he'll rock the role. Moving over to movies.
I'm just really curious about who to do. But yeah, let's talk about movies.
Yeah.
So
yes, Yitto. Yes, the Nick Fury supporting the whole Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon was amazing. Oh my gosh, I loved that cartoon. I watched it with my kids. I loved that it had
Jonathan Drake's actor when he was voicing. What is his name?
I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure who did the voices.
Yeah, I think it's Drake. I think his name is Drake Bell. He was the one in the superhero movie with Leslie Nelson, the parody, which I thought was.
It was the one I liked it because it didn't take itself 100% seriously, and like literally, there's a line where Nick Cage. Not Nick Cage.
Nick Fury.
Not Nick Cage. What? Where Luke Cage goes, "Hey, wait a minute! You're calling yourself Spider-Man? What I'm gonna call myself? I'm gonna call myself Power Man." Then I was just like, "Oh my gosh!"
Okay, so now I know why you said Nick Cage is because people probably don't realize that Nick Cage is not Nick's last name. He's a Coppola, and he changed his name to Cage because his favorite superhero was Luke Cage.
Yes,
some knowledge for you right there, guys.
That wasn't why, but now that's why I said that.
Oh, okay. I was trying to help you. Yeah,
it wasn't why, but I'm going to just say it was now.
So what do you think about Love and Thunder?
So in terms of the movies, Love and Thunder is going to be interesting. I actually just recently heard that Tessa Thompson leaked that Christian Bale is going to be playing the bad guy. And I don't remember the name of the bad guy, but the thoughts everybody's thinking is that there's like a God Hunter type of character. And I don't remember the name of the character, but there's like a character from the comics that like his job is to hunt gods. And now that like Thor is like at his most powerful, and now there's going to be like another Thor. And then also Tessa Thompson is running around and they're all on Earth. There's going to be somebody who's going to be going, and the leaked kind of storyline, the idea that people are thinking is that it's going to be this god hunter going and trying to murder gods. And then they're going to have to stop it, which I like that. I like that idea.
I like it too, because they've already confirmed that they're going to keep in Jane Foster's cancer story.
Yes.
So, because I know in the comics she had breast cancer, which is always funny to me because she was never a scientist. She was a nurse in the comics. But her whole family had cancer, and she was always, it almost felt like she was waiting to see if she got it. That's literally what it felt like. But
I don't know. For me, it depends on how far they want to take that, because like in the comics, if I recall correctly, she was like stage 4 terminal. And every time she dipped into Thor's power, it actually killed her more.
It's because her chemo kept getting dissolved whenever she would.
Right. So I wonder how deep they're going to go into it. I know Natalie Portman is coming back from a previous kind of like, I didn't really like doing this movie sort of thing. So I wonder if she's kind of coming back, and maybe she's going to come back and say goodbye to this character. Maybe.
Well, the director of the first Thor movie, I think, was her friend, and they didn't like how they treated her, and that's why she left. The old MCU management, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting. So I really want to know. I have to go back and look at the comic, because I have them somewhere on one of my drives, because I scanned before I realized technology. I actually scanned some of my comics, and they're old, and I have to go back and look and see who he could possibly be. But yeah, I like the idea of a god killer. That's interesting. And I want to see if they play off why Thor no longer is worthy of wielding,
Yeah. Well, I think that he's still worthy.
Well, in the comic, he didn't. Remember, in the comic, the actual series, he wasn't. He lost it. Like the hammer did not work for him. But
right now, remember, in the continuity that we have right now, there is no Mjolnir. It was destroyed by Hela.
Yeah, that's true.
The only reason that it was there before was because it was an alternate version from a different timeline. But Captain America went back and returned that to its proper timeline. So that would mean either Jane Foster is going to be from a multiverse, another version of Thor from the multiverse, or somebody dipped back into the timeline, stole that hammer again. I don't know.
Time travel in the MCU is its own thing. I mean, I've seen Back to the Future. I'm a Doctor Who fan. Like, the rules just do not make sense.
No, they really don't.
Whatever. That's no. That's some Fry stuff. That's some Futurama stuff right there. So I'm gonna leave that alone. But yeah, I am excited. I really want to see. Now that I know, I didn't realize Christian Bale was cast. So that
that was revealed like a couple of days ago on like Tessa Thompson's Twitter or something. So
I'm very excited for that.
There's also like Christian Bale just in general too. So like he's a great actor.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like about his Batman was his chain smoking voice, but that's everybody. It's only because I felt like it hurt. It wasn't that it was bad. It just every time he did it as a voice actor, I kept thinking, wow, I would need so much tea and lemon after that. It has to hurt. That had to be painful. I don't know. That's just a thought.
Yeah. No, it probably was, but he's the type of actor. He gives himself over to a role. If you've ever seen The Machinist, like all of that stuff, like
his wife even did an interview talking about him. His method is so strong that sometimes he forgets that he's not that character, and she has to remind him, look. And I'm like, not today, sir. So movies, what do you think about all the rumors for Spider-Man, like potentially bringing back Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire?
So all of that, what I feel is happening right now with that, and because that's a big discussion, because I know that there's a lot of people talking. There's a lot of even the stars of the movies that are dropping, like hints or whatever, and saying, oh that would never happen, but I'd love it if it did, that sort of thing. But yes, oh my gosh, I would love that. I would say that if they were going to do it, it's not going to be like the next movie. It would probably be the one after, like, because they probably want to float the idea and like have the idea of a live action Spider-Verse out there a little bit longer before they just jumped on it and did it. But since Sony / Fox and Marvel have made their agreements, and they are allowing some of these things to cross over a little bit more. Honestly, it sounds like an easy win for them.
Yeah,
like
especially with Doctor Strange involved, that you've already got a way of.
You can already do that because that's the Spider-Verse right there. You don't even have to create a Kingpin weird, universe destroying machine. Like it just becomes Doctor Strange messing more things up.
Yeah, which is why him being the linchpin makes a lot of sense in terms of Peter Parker. So that's why I think all that is a tie-in. That might be what they're like, at least giving us a taste of it. Obviously, we're not going to get everybody from the Spider-Verse. Like I don't think we're going to get Jessica. I don't think we're going to get Silk or anything that this early. But I would love to see Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire do a scene like I hate to reference a DC tragedy. It's Crisis on Infinite Earths, having the DCEU version of Flash meet the CW Flash. If we get something like that where they had a moment, it's like, what? There's more of me on different world. That would be really cool.
All I need, this is what I want to have happen. I want the movie to start off, Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man in his 40s, like early 50s, still doing his thing, and he meets Miles and then dies. And he passes it on. That's Miles' story, but I want Tobey Maguire to be the one to hand it off to Miles. And then you just do something weird with Doctor Strange and shoot Miles into the current Spider-Man, the Tom Holland Spider-Man, and then you don't even have to be where one of the there can only be one or whatever. You can have them both there, and you can have both a Miles Morales and a Tom Holland Spider-Man, and still keep them still also in the same universe for movies going forward. And that could be a really cool like way to do it. Like I think Andrew Garfield and stuff would be interesting, but I feel like fewer people liked those movies. It would make more sense to dip back to Tobey.
Yeah. He was two together for Peter Parker. But now I think I like it in reverse. I would like him to meet Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker, and then he dies. He just dies. And then I want to have like we had in the Spider-Verse movie. I want Tobey Maguire to be like on the outs with MJ because she wants to have kids, and so they break up, and he's carrying her picture around, being all sad because he's really good at being sad. And then he aids with the help of Miles. He aids, Tom Holland Spider-Man in Prime Earth, and with whatever they're doing. And then he goes, because the Sinister Six, we know is going to be in the movie. Oh, so, yeah. And it would make a lot of sense to have both Andrew and have Peter Parker, Tobey Maguire, because Tobey's been doing it the longest. And, Andrew, of course, Electro is from his universe. So you'd have a tie-in, and it would be cool if Electro killed Andrew Garfield the first 5-10 minutes of the movie. He's like, yeah, I'm Spider-Man, dead. I was like,
so maybe the next Spider-Man movie starts off with a fight between Spider-Man and Rhino. That fight that we never got.
Oh, yeah. The 5 seconds we swinging this thing. Yeah, that was stupid.
That's how you would start the movie off.
Yeah.
I think for me, the one that I think I'm most excited about, the Spider-Man one, definitely, but there's still there's so many leaks and different ideas and just there's nothing concrete. But they said that they're going to be giving the title of the movie before the end of the year. So
yeah, they rumored it was Home Run. Is one of the rumors we got. Spider-Man.
I've heard Home Run. I've heard Home Worlds, like Spider-Verse.
Home Worlds would be cool.
Home Worlds could be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
But I've heard a couple of different versions as to what it could be. But they said that they're going to be revealing it before the end of the year. They said that we're going to know what the name of the next Spider-Man movie. But the next Spider-Man movie is not even going to be. It's like Christmas next year. So
but they're releasing a teaser in December, and they've already started filming. They've already said in New York.
Cool.
So, yeah.
I think for me, in terms of movies, I know that there's not much really to talk about Blade recently. Black Widow, I think that they're going to be bringing to Disney Plus probably as a VOD.
Yeah, Blade, the only interesting thing about that is they decided they're going to have an all black. They're going to have an all black writing team, which I thought
that's cool.
So that's cool. Yeah,
that's very cool. Black Widow's probably come to Disney Plus. Doctor Strange is going to be crazy. The Eternals, I think, is the one that I haven't really heard much about.
Any updates now? I don't know where they are.
There's just not much there, except that what is it? Camille Nanjiani. He has like a rockin' bod now. I don't know if you've seen that. Kumail Nanjiani, he's the Indian comedian, and he's normally has like a gut and he likes pizza and stuff, but he for the movie The Eternals, he had to work out and get a body, and he's it's like whoa. And thank you, Yito. Yes, the one that I'm most excited about is actually Shang Chi, because Shang Chi just started filming.
They just started back. I think aren't they in San Francisco now?
Yeah, they're in San Francisco now. Yeah. But I love the idea because Iron Fist always really gave off like a cultural appropriation kind of feel to it. So like Shang-Chi is basically, and I get why, like Shang-Chi was actually out first and he was like the Marvel's Bruce Lee, and then they came out with Iron Fist 2, and then Iron Fist just blew up bigger because he's a white dude. So I
remember Shang-Chi is half white, and people don't know that he's
actually didn't know that.
Yeah, his mother is European white, and his father was, problematic.
Oh, cool.
His father's, but he's half. That's why when China had that big uproar about him not being played by a traditional Chinese person, I'm like, you need to read the comic, because he wasn't. He was mixed. He's half white.
Well, so, I like who they picked. The guy from Kim's Convenience. I don't remember.
Love that show.
love that show.
Jun and his best friend Kimchi.
Yeah, I love that Kimchi. Show. But I love that actor. So just watching more of Kim's Convenience just made, I was like, oh yeah, I'm sold. Like I only watched that show after he was announced. I was like, he's on Kim's Convenience. Well, I guess I'll watch this show and see if he's a good actor. And I'm like, yeah, I love this guy now. So
yeah, I was sold, and Awkwafina's in it, and I can't tell if she's going to play the love interest or the sister.
Knowing Awkwafina, it'll be the sister, so that she can, she could be the love interest.
She could be Leiko Wu, and she was MI6 who. She had a very interesting backstory in the comics, let's put it that way. But she was one of Shang-Chi's earliest lovers. So I don't know if that's, because that's who I'm thinking that is. And that would be a tie-in, because she does work with him, and she works with a lot of villains too. So she really wasn't a good guy either. So kind of moral dilemma for our main, character. But I don't know.
I think for me, the biggest thing with that movie is going to be the introduction of the Mandarin. Like for me, that's going to be really cool. I always really liked the Mandarin.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of incorporating the existing MCU Mandarin, because if you recall, like the cutscene was like, you have to come with me because the guy whose name you stole wants to talk to you. And I loved that scene. And I actually liked it. A lot of people didn't like the fake out, but I actually liked it. I was just like, oh, he's not actually the Mandarin. Oh, that's hilarious. You know, and he ended up being a dumb dude in the Iron Man movie. But I like the fact then at the end, they were just like, oh no, there actually is a Mandarin and you have to answer to this. And I was like, yes.
Yeah, I think Iron Man 2 upset a lot of people with that. But
Iron Man 3 in general, nobody really liked it. I think that was 3. No, but a lot of people really didn't like 3.
I thought,
wasn't it? It was.
I don't.
No, it was 2. It was 2.
Because remember, that's when Pepper had her when she got modified and was like badass for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, that was definitely 2. I equate everything to the anxiety period, the anxiety attack period of Tony Stark, because he had a lot of anxiety attacks in that movie.
Yeah. Well, that was his character. Well, no, then we're not talking about 2, because 2 was when
2 followed the first movie, and he had anxiety over the first movie, and then 3.
Right. Because he had the PTSD. No. 3
was the one. You know what? Because we talked about this too much. I'm going in.
3 followed Avengers, and that's where he had his PTSD and everything. So that's 3.
Iron Man 2, because I remember him being, because the kid that was and it could be 3 in the movie was actually at his funeral in Endgame.
Yito says Iron Man 2 was when he fought Justin Hammer and Whip and the introduction of
you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, 3 was when he was
anxiety attack. Okay.
Yeah.
I got you. Well, then that should tell you how much I enjoyed the movie.
3. I enjoyed 3. I know that you even mentioned earlier about him destroying all of his suits and like, why did you destroy the suit?
That broke me. It broke me.
For me, though, I really dug it. So like for me, it was character progression. Like that was character growth right there. Him.
I thought we were friends. What is wrong with you? No, you do not. You do not. I am a Gundam girl. I am a Macross girl. When you have cool tech, I mean, I even like Bubblegum Crisis. You do not destroy cool tech. You lock it away for later and tell your woman, okay, we'll put it in here and lock the door. Here's the key, baby. I won't touch it. And then the stuff goes down and she's like, here, you take the key. I'm allowing you to use all this epic cool stuff. No, you don't. No, you do not blow them up. No. No, sir. No, sir.
Well, I think you have to think about it, though. It's like, if you could literally build one of those suits in like 5 minutes because you're Tony Stark, destroying one doesn't mean as much as it does to Maria and Aloy. So it's like
we're talking about Maria, and Maria says no. But Shang-Chi, though, I wanted to ask you this: do you think Sister Dagger could be Awkwafina, since they just recently started popping her up now in some of the latest Shang-Chi comics? Because that could be a clue, because we're now seeing her a lot. So
I mean, it could be. It's hard for me to imagine Awkwafina in any type of serious role. I think that's my problem. It's not because I don't think she could do it.
She did really well in that movie, The Farewell, when they were hiding the death from her. I
haven't seen that one, so maybe I need to go watch that one.
Yeah, you should watch that.
Everything I've seen her in, she's been goofy, and that one you can get typecast, you know.
Yeah, I saw her acting chops in that one, and she was also in one that my daughter watched called Paradise Hills that had Emma Roberts, and that was pretty serious, and she didn't act. Yeah, so, but I mean, that's what I love. I love when they surprise you.
Yeah,
because the only thing I ever saw Jun in is Kim's Convenience. So I mean, for him to be in this role, Shang-Chi is not Jun. So I always feel people can surprise you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I always trust a comedian to take over a dramatic role, because like, a lot of comedians they excel at dramatic roles.
It's harder. Weird. It's harder to be funny.
Yeah. Honestly. Exactly. So, exactly.
So I know. I'm thinking Sister Dagger might be an option for her. I think that would be a really good way to segue that character in, and she's a pretty badass character. So
I could see that.
Yeah.
I would love it though. I want White Tiger to come back though.
I do. I want yeah.
I forgot her name in the show, White Tiger. I want White Tiger though because she's amazing, and it would be great to like, you know, justify that horrendous show by at least letting her continue on.
It's like a horrendous show, but that's funny. But no, I mean, I guess yeah, I could see White Tiger. I could see White Tiger being there. I don't know. I'm holding out though. If we're going by people that would make an impact on him, his sister would be,
yeah.
For me, his sister would be a lot, better than an ally. But I mean, who knows? I mean, who knows? More than likely, she's the love interest. I mean, we don't know. They've been keeping her stuff way under wraps, so I'm kind of at this point, I don't know. And there've been so many versions of White Tiger too. If I remember, I know Hector was one. Was it Angela de Toro? And she's not Asian. She's Hispanic.
Right. That's a different one.
I think you're thinking. And there's Ava. What was Ava's last name? Yeah, I'm sure when I'm saying this, Nicholas is already writing it down.
Yeah, exactly. No, she was the one that was in the Spider-Man, the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon. She was in that one.
Yeah. Nicholas already had Ava Ayala.
Ava Ayala. There you go. Yeah. But no, yeah. So I would like to see her. But I mean, yeah. I mean, I think I need to go brush up on my Shang-Chi. I'm mostly excited. Just honestly, I'm excited to have like the first like Asian lead of a superhero movie. Yes, but like of like a giant blockbuster, huge budget movie. Like Crazy Rich Asians was cool. And I think that the success of that movie probably led to the decision to move forward with Shang-Chi. That would be my guess.
Yeah, I mean, and I know they want to expand more on diversity. When Kevin took over as president, I know a lot of changes were made because like the original series, the original management of MCU was, for me, problematic. And a lot of people were not happy. So I do like the fact that with this new management, the new showrunners, movie, whatever you want to call it, that they're willing to entertain so many other characters that are minorities and that are obscure, or like even some that are considered B characters in comics. So I think
I completely agree. I mean, because I remember I was watching, not Endgame, Infinity War, and I remember watching that movie, and I was like, this is a good movie and all, and I'm enjoying it. But like, there's a handful of white dudes in a room and they're all having a discussion about how best to save everyone else. And the people in the room was Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Doctor Strange, 3 characters I love, but I felt weird watching that scene because it was like there is no reflection of anyone but white dudes in most of this movie, and it's sad. So I think that the next Avengers movie will be much bigger and better for the diversity, and hopefully does not have a women superheroes are awesome scene.
We have Monica Rambeau.
Yes, and Monica Rambeau will be there, who is like, oh my gosh, she's amazing. She's going to be on WandaVision. So I'm excited about that.
I'm really excited about that because I love Monica Rambeau. I'm super excited about that.
I'm going to hit some of these. I'm going to hit a few questions, and then I think we're going to have to say goodbye. But let's see. So it may just be better to feature X-Men when they're already in the Krakoa phase. Now that could be cool, actually, because it could be like a discovery sort of thing. That could be actually pretty interesting. And they've already done a bunch of like Magneto. I saw a thing. It was like they leaked the idea of a Magneto crossover in WandaVision or something like that.
Which one? Which Magneto?
See, that's the question.
Just
Magneto in general. I don't know if it's going to be the actual one from the Fox movies or not. I assume not. But also,
he's no longer on contract. So now that they don't have the rights, I mean, he could re-sign with MCU.
Yeah, I'm good with it. Let's see. Let me see. The Genoshan Massacre is a pretty old story too. Yeah, that's true.
Genosha's been hit lots of times, especially in the comic. And damn it, more McTaggart.
Yito says, I'm addicted to Maria's channel too. Yay!
Yay! And don't go to therapy over that or any kind of like AA.
There is no support group for this. You just have to suffer. But I'm liking the content I'm seeing on the Turnout. Woohoo! Yes.
Yay! That's what we want. Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. I should probably say that. I'm terrible at this whole YouTube thing. Like and subscribe, everybody.
Please, like
to mine and to Maria's. Come on now.
But we're on his, so Turnout, like and subscribe. Make sure you put the notification.
Well, I mean, since you're already here, you might as well do it.
Make sure you hit the notification bell so you know when he posts.
You know what I've started doing too? I've even started to say like the whole, because I've found out that there's underneath the bell, there's a most notices and all notices.
And
I'm like, what? That's a whole other level of just.
I learned that with Yito, because Yito never knew when I was posting a live stream because it never alerted him. And I'm like, do you have that?
Exactly.
What's happening. It's not sending everything. Yeah.
So it says, I hope WandaVision sees a reinvention of Quicksilver. I think it could be cool. They have not.
Don't bring over the Quicksilver from Brian.
No, definitely, let's not do that. But they haven't shared anything or leaked anything about Quicksilver being any part of it. But I think it would be cool. Reinvention of Quicksilver, though, that would be the hard part because Quicksilver exists in the MCU.
And now, no, he does not anymore because he is dead.
Well, he exists as a person who did live at one point.
Yeah.
But I don't see why, if Wanda finds out that she's got the power to break dimensions and stuff, why she can't just say,
"Bring him back,
bring my brother back from the dead." Then
Well, then we have Polaris too, since that is their sister. That's a good way of bringing Polaris in, and the X Factor.
Are they going to go that deep? I think if they're going to bring the X-Men,
might be, and if Alex Summers is in, he's from X Factor, then why not bring Polaris and a few of the others in?
I mean, you definitely could. I feel like if they're gonna do X-Men, they're gonna probably bring in a couple of the old staples and then maybe a few that we've never seen before. I noticed Yito just suggested a few Marrow. Let me see. Marrow, Quanin, Grey Crow.
Quanin, yes.
Renzi,
yes.
Polaris, Bishop, Jubilee. Now, Bishop, I don't know about Bishop because Bishop is from the post-apocalyptic future and all that stuff. That would be a whole other edition of that would be adding in both mutants and time travel into the MCU then at that point. So
well, maybe it will fix the time travel that the MCU has. Bishop comes back and says, all of this is wrong.
Maybe.
Or get my gun.
But I like Polaris. I mean, Bishop, don't get me wrong. Bishop's one of my very favorite X-Men. I'm just saying, I don't know if he fits for the MCU in the current, obviously with the MCU, they did change him anyway. But with his current iteration, I don't know if he would fit. Jubilee would be great. Marrow's cool. I'm a fan of what's his name? Skin. He's from Generation X.
Gen X, yes. Was it Skin? Yeah, I guess because their Husk was Page. Page was Husk.
Yeah. Husk I love, but I love Skin as well. I don't know if that's actually his name, but he was really cool. They made a Generation X movie.
Miguel? You remember, was his name Miguel?
I don't remember that.
Oh, that's going to bother me now.
They made a Generation X movie, which was terrible, but I loved him. I love the concept behind weird mutant powers. And Yito says, yes, Skin is correct.
Thank you, Yito.
It seems like such a dumb name, though, right? Like,
they all had my favorite character is Sync. I love Sync. So
I don't remember Sync.
Everett or Emmett.
I don't remember that one.
Okay. He was able to basically any power that he was nearby, he was able to use it simultaneously or just, direct it back at you. That was his power. And I guess I should have disclaimed it by saying he was one of the only Black kids in Generation X.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I liked him. And then and then Husk I liked just because it was so weird that there was a mutant that had the ability to just rip their skin off and be whatever material underneath it. It was just
Husk was awesome. I love Husk. Husk is a great one. So yeah, it's honestly, there's not many questions or anything. There's just a lot of conversation pieces in the comments. So thank you guys for having this conversation with us, because I've actually been reading them. So yeah, the first appearance of Cloak and Dagger, yeah, that was in the Spider-Man Ultimate, the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon.
Oh, has one about what I talked about earlier for you, Oscar Isaacs as Moon Knight now.
Yes, that is actually, yeah, you did mention that one.
Yeah.
I Moon Knight itself is a weird concept, and I can't wait to see what they do with it. And I like Oscar Isaac. The only thing I've really seen him in is the Star Wars movies, but he's good in those. So has he been in anything else?
Star Trek Into Darkness. He was into that one as well.
Wait, which one? Is he Bones? Wait, was he Bones?
No, that's
Wait, which one is he in Star Trek? Hold on.
Yeah, he was in Star Trek Into Darkness. I'm trying to remember his character's name. I'm trying to get it for you because I knew this because I've seen every Star Trek movie, but I can.
Oscar Isaac was a decent Apocalypse as well.
Yeah, but he was also in Star Trek.
He was Apocalypse?
Well, I can't tell you officially because that is a Bryan Singer movie and I don't watch those. I'm just putting it out there. Just letting you know.
Let me see.
I'm trying to find his character for you.
I'm seeing everything Star Wars.
No, it was a small character. What was it? What was it? He was Ensign Rel. He was so remember before they crash landed on the planet, the guy that helped sabotage the computer on the bridge, that was him. It was very small.
It's been forever since I've seen the Star Trek.
The Abrams versions, not the
Yes, the Abrams versions.
Yeah,
yes,
we're going Kelvin versus whatever. That's a whole other conversation. But yeah, it was a small role. He's been in a lot. I've seen him in a few things where he had small, like very small parts in the background. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of people are still upset that he's not Jewish.
Which I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people play a lot of things that they aren't.
I actually, I used to have that issue. I'd be like, oh man, like they're not playing the thing. Like I remember when I was watching Kim's Convenience, and I remember watching the show, and I'm just like, the parents look Korean, the kids look Chinese. What's up with this? And I looked them up, and yeah, they're Chinese. That's why. So I was like, okay, and I was like, so do we get mad at a German person for playing a French person? No. Okay, so then we can't be mad about a Chinese person playing a Korean person. As long as you look the role, I guess, then I guess it's okay. That's where I went with it anyway in my own brain.
Yeah, I just remember that Jun was definitely Chinese and he's playing a Korean character. And then, like I said, this goes back to Hollywood, guys. People, they cast what they cast. Like I know a lot of Native American characters were cast by Hispanic people. Right. And I don't know. I don't agree with the process. I just don't want to get upset that somebody has a job at the same time. So, because that goes back to our charm conversation. 2 of the characters are not Latinx and they play Latinx characters, or at least half Latinx characters. So does not stop you from watching it. So it is
definitely not me. I'm going to watch every minute of it.
I'm going to watch it. And then Jack Human was Hugh Jackman. I'm losing my mind. Hugh Jackman. Maybe I'm dyslexic. Their top MCU apparently is rumored to be talking to him about returning as Wolverine. So I did see that.
Oh, wow.
And that's true. I am 100 million trillion % subscribed to that.
I mean, he's a great Wolverine, but I feel like there's a lot of baggage that comes along with recasting him in the MCU as Wolverine again.
Yeah, it just depends on if they're bringing Patrick Stewart's Xavier, because then I could see that. Like if they're trying to get some people back from OG, I could see that being a thing. If not, then because a lot of people kind of wanted Carl Urban from The Boys to be Wolverine, and I can see that too.
Ooh. Oh, he would be I mean, if he could not talk with the accent, I don't know if he can do an American accent.
In Star Trek. And the Star Trek.
Oh, that's right. No, yeah, that's right. He's the one that's
he's good.
Yeah, so he could do it. Yeah. Oh man, he'd be great.
He would be
wonderful. I think he's too busy on The Boys now, and The Boys ain't going anywhere.
He's not.
That show is too good.
Yeah, but I mean, their shooting schedule, I'm sure they can rotate if they're going to have Wolverine. Trust me, he would make that work to be in the MCU. Make that work.
One more from Nicholas. He says, I'm hoping that we get to see baby Shogo in the near future. If we get to see Jubilee's whole arc as a vampire once Imday as Wanda's on the verge of a meltdown. So first off, I will say I completely agree. I loved Jubilee as a vampire with the little psychic baby, the possessed psychic baby. That's like the best superhero ever, in my opinion. So I want to see that as well. And with that, we've hit an hour. So I want to thank Maria for being here.
Anytime.
Thank you for coming on and hanging out with me, and definitely go check out her channel, Approach the Nerd. I'll put a link in the description. It should already be there. And if you haven't subscribed here, don't forget to do that. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. That's at the Turnout USAA. Let me see, anything else? No, I think that's it. All right, everybody. I have been your host, Aloy. This has been the Turnout. Thanks for showing up. Peace.
Bye.